Okay, so the whole purpose of this webinar is we made some changes at the end of last year to the way we distributed leads, and it's really a big improvement. We're seeing lots of success across the country, but what we've been finding is that the things that agents should have been doing, or ways to help yourselves out, they're not happening. So we wanted to revisit these things. Chris Kuklon had sent some emails and some things out for you guys to watch, but I know how busy it gets. So I wanted to make sure you guys at least saw this once, and hopefully we'll do some of the things I talk about here during this presentation, because it really has been helping agents make sales and going forward. So the first thing I want to go through is what our clients see and what happens and how we generate a lot of these leads that come in. So our agents are going to, or the clients are going to see on the computer, they're going to see this page. On a mobile phone, they're going to see this page. So whenever they click on a picture, view details, or other sections of the page, the system's going to take them to a registration area that looks like this. The first area is going to ask them for their email, and basically that's all it asks them for. And if they're already in our system, then that information is going to go to the agent that has that particular lead. If it is a new email, a second registration page pops up where it asks them to answer one of three questions. Either I want to move, I am considering a move, or just browsing. And then it asks them to put their name and phone number in. Now, so this is something that was brand new to us, and it's been, I think, very good, because it gives you as the agent an idea of what the client was thinking when they registered. Just browsing. Some of them may not be just browsing, but at least you can approach the lead in a specific way if you got that. Considering a move, again, approach the lead based on that answer. So you've got some more details to help you. So, if you want to see, let me just show you kind of what they go through. So what they go through is they search for a home, and then they find something they like as they're scrolling through, and they want to look at this picture. They click on it. The system is going to pop up with that registration. So this is how the clients get to our website. Once they do that registration, they go into a queue of the lead, basically the lead opportunities. Let me see, someone's got a question. All right, very good. So we're all good. They go into a queue where the leads will get distributed out when you are turned on. So when you flip your leads on, and if you remember what that is, on your home page, whenever you are on, leads are on, you're going to be eligible for these particular leads that come in. And when you are on, you're going to get a text message. Lead opportunity, just browsing. Lead opportunity, considering a move. Lead opportunity, I want to move. So these are what they look like in your text. And notice it gives you three choices. View the opportunity, accept and call now, thanks, no thanks, I'll pass. So obviously if you're busy, click on the link for no thanks, I'll pass. Now we hope that when you're turned on, that you're ready to do some prospecting and you're ready to talk to leads. So this should only be used in certain areas and when you're really busy. Accept and call now. I don't particularly like using this without looking at the lead, but this is an option. If you know you're going to accept the lead, go ahead and click on it. What I like to do is click on the view opportunity, and this is what I would recommend that you guys do when you get these lead opportunities. View opportunity, and then what pops up is one of these screens. If you do it from your computer or from your email, this is what shows up on your laptop or your desktop. If you're on your phone, this is what shows up over here on the right side. So basically, you've got three choices, and plus the good thing about this is that you get to see the email and the phone number, so you know if it's a bad lead. If it's Barack Obama with a fake phone number and a fake email that is obvious, you would just click bad lead and then you'd be eligible for the next lead, right? No thanks, I'll pass just means you're busy, and accept and call this lead now. Your phone rings and they'll try to reach the client with you. So this is what happens with our lead system for normal leads. The next section is what kind of some of the new things that have happened, which is called speed to lead. So we have our corporate office, and they've done some things where they're spending an extra amount of money to target specific people, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Google, whether it's Instagram, whatever it is, to try and put these ads in front of people that are ready to buy houses. And what we found is that by sending these out without requiring them to register, we just give them 3 buttons: call agent, message agent, or schedule a tour. And when they do that, we know that they've got some severe interest, because, or some high interest, because we haven't really required them to do much. So they see these advertisements. If they hit call agent, they click the button, and then our agents' phones will ring. And the way our call center works is when they call that number, every agent who's eligible for the call center, their phone will ring. It's the first person that answers it will talk to that person. The next one is message the agent. So they click message the agent, and it asks them for their phone and email and a note. We don't never ask them for their name in this particular situation. Phone and email, and I'm interested. And then schedule a tour. Notice how it gives them an option to pick a day and time that they want to see the property. So those are pretty powerful things. So what happens is these leads end up going immediately to an agent as an opportunity. That agent will see it, and 6 seconds later, we send it to another agent. And we send it to another agent after that. And the first person that says, yep, let's call this person, they will get the lead into their database. So, for example, just to kind of share with you what's going on, here is the message agent. The client clicks it, they enter their information, and that generates what we call a speed to lead text that goes to one of you as an agent. This one was speed to lead. It shows you the price and the address. It shows you the MLS number, how long it's been available, and it shows the note from the client. Now, notice there's a default note. Sometimes the clients change it and put in more information. This one happened to use the default, I'm interested in this particular property. Then you as the agent, if you see that message and you want to work with him, you click to call. If you're the first one to hit the click to call button, your phone will ring and the client's phone will ring, and hopefully you talk to them. So basically, we don't know the client's name, so there's kind of a script that you can use that says, hello, this is Chris from Easy Street Realty. You had interest in this home. How can I help? You can customize that any way you want, but just basically, you're trying to make sure the client knows why you're calling them, even though you don't know the client's name at the beginning, all right? So as soon as you're done with the phone call, whether they answer or not, you're going to get a text message giving you the option to send them a quick text. And one of the things that the corporate office wants to make sure that we get across to you, and really to help you guys out, is every one of these leads, no matter if the client answers or not, you need to immediately send them a text afterward, and hopefully they'll respond to you, right? So if they didn't pick up the phone, there's a link that gets sent in this follow-up text to you that says, click this link and we'll send a text that says, sorry I missed you, how can I help? It's basically, you don't have to do anything. Even if you're driving your car, well, I wouldn't recommend driving, but if you have, all you do is click this link and a text goes to the client. If you did talk to them, you can click the second link, which says, great chatting with you, here's my contact info. That's it. And then if you really want to customize something, you click on customize text and you can send your own message that way. All right, so let's go back to this. So these are the things that happen if they click on message agent, right? The next thing is tour a home. Now, one of the things that you need to make sure, I know everybody wants to click fast so they get the lead, but remember, if you're not available when they request this tour, you don't want to click this, because that would not be good. If they requested a tour Friday and you're not going to be available Friday, just skip this one. There'll be others that come. We don't get a lot of these, but there'll be more that come down the road, and we do not want to waste these opportunities. If you get the lead and you can't do the tour, then that would be bad news. So if you're not available, don't click to call. But this is what a tour a home request looks like. So one of the big things that they want to get across is on these speed to leads, if you don't reach them on the initial call, 100% of the time you need to send them a quick text through the IMS immediately following the call. Now, some of you have already received emails from Chris Kugelhahn back at our main office telling you, when these things don't happen. So everybody's looking at these because we're spending a lot more money to target these advertisements, and we want to make sure. We've been finding great success across the country in converting these leads into sales. So please do what is asked of you on these particular leads, or don't take them. That's really the message. Dig deep with each lead, establish rapport, keep asking questions. Can you show them other homes? It's not always about the home they inquired about. And then don't give up on these. If the property that they were looking at is already pending, so what? See if they want to see something else, or show them that house no matter what. So those are the things that you need to keep in mind. A couple things that they found is when you turn people off, if you start asking a lot of questions about their financing, then they get spooked and they want to go away. So what if they're not ready to be financed? Most of the time they are, but if they're not if they're not able to be financed at this time, don't get caught up with that. Meet with them, get in front of them. Worst case scenario, they can't buy for 6 months or a year, and you've got a client. But get in front of them, build rapport. Are you working with another agent? Skip that question as well. Who cares? Just go meet them. If they're calling us and they're asking us for help, obviously their agent isn't doing a good job. And if you meet with them, they might decide to jump ship. Okay. It's funny, a speed to lead just came in, so hopefully one of you gets it. Anyway, please, if you're not available to show the homes, don't accept one of those tour leads. If you're not in a position to have a conversation, don't accept one of these speed to leads. And then once you get done, make sure you ask them for their name and other contact information. Make sure to verify the contact information and update the lead in the system. So that is one of the big reasons for having this webinar, is to make sure you guys are addressing these speed to leads when you take them, because they are more expensive to generate and they're better quality leads. So please, when you get one, do all you can. There's going to be ones that don't work for sure, but there's a lot more higher percentage that are turning into sales across the country. All right, so what happens if one of these targeted leads goes to one of your clients that are already in your database? That's another thing we're doing. We're calling it remarketing. We're putting these ads in front of people's Facebook, in front of, just kind of like whenever you guys are out searching on the web, you notice that sometimes, that's something I'm interested in. Why am I getting an ad about that? Well, that's kind of what the technology is that we're doing here. So we put these home ads in front of these people, and if they go ahead and click on one of these buttons, you're going to get a text that says message from lead. Notice it's not a speed to lead or anything like that. It just says message from lead. They requested a tour, and then we give you the option to send them a quick text or go to the lead in the system. Now, notice how there's no call button on these texts. You could go to the lead and call them, but it might be easier just to send a quick customized text. All right. So these are things that you'll see these texts when the lead is already in your system. So it's not a new lead, it's one that's already been in your database. Another type of notice you're going to be getting from the system is leads on site recently. Notice how it gives you the name of the lead, the last time you contacted them, a bunch of other information here, number of properties they've saved, things like this, and then it gives you a couple different options that you can actually send a customized text. You click this link and up pops a box where you can fill in a message and send a text, and it gets recorded in the lead for you. So it makes it a little bit easier doing it right from the text that you receive for the leads on site. Now, you might think, wow, I'm going to be getting bombarded with all these text messages from these people that are on the website looking. No, you're not. What the criteria is it has to be at least 21 days since you've made an attempt to talk to them. They've visited the site more than one time. So let's say you have a lead that's been in your system for 6 months. They get on the website one time, and then they go off again. So we're not going to send you a notice about that person, because if they're serious, they're going to get on it more than one time. If they happen to click on a single property 2 or more times, or if they've saved a home to favorites, then you will get this notification. But it's going to be, you're going to see that most of these leads, most of these text messages are for people you want to see things from. Now, let's say that this is a person that just is a looker and you don't want to give up on them, but you get tired of getting one of these leads on site every 21 days. Well, here's what you can do. All right. So every lead by default is going to be turned on. So let's look at one of these, a regular lead. Here's a lead, Gary Sneed. Now notice that the alerts are on for this person. So that means if he's out there searching on the website, you're going to get that leads on site notification. If this is somebody that you absolutely know it's a waste of your time to get that text, you can always go in here and turn off those alerts. That just means you won't get any more of those alerts for that particular client. Okay, so that's one way. So if you do start seeing a certain people over and over again, that it's a waste of your time, you can still keep them in your database. You don't have to get rid of them. You can just turn off the alerts, and then you'll have to see them on your hot list or anything like that to get them to help you out. Okay, so that's the leads on site recently. So one of the other things I wanted to discuss is basically when you are in the rotation taking new leads, don't skip to wait for the best ones, because there's going to be bunches and bunches of leads that say they're just browsing. These are good leads. They may not know right now that they're ready to buy, but they could be down the road. And you need to stock up on some of these, because some of these other ones we're not going to get as many. I'm considering a move, I'm ready to move, speed to lead, and call in. Those are kind of in the order of how many we're going to get. So you shouldn't just wait for the ones that say I'm ready to move. You shouldn't just wait for speed to leads, because you won't get enough to do business with. You need to accept almost every lead that you get while you're in the rotation, because the leads all need to be serviced, okay? Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about, the system itself and what it is that, that you guys need to be doing on a daily basis. So when you're on a computer, your home home page looks like this. It has all the different areas, which I'll bring up here in a second. And also you have a mobile view that's going to be slightly different. When you're on the mobile view of the website, there are certain things that you're not able to do. So one of the things on the home screen, you can set up prospecting lists at the bottom of the computer home screen, but that option is not available on mobile. So what I'm talking about is on our home screen, down here, you've got these options for creating a prospecting list, and you can come in and select filters and do things like that to set up a list to find specific clients. You can't do that on the mobile version. No big deal, just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that. Then you have, when you are actually looking at leads on your computer or on the action page on your phone. So you can basically, on these pages, you can call, text, or email directly from this page, and it automatically records that information, whether it's the phone call, the text, or the email, it records your results. You can update the status of the lead. I'm going to talk to you guys about proper status labeling. You can update your gateway and suggest MLS email programs. These are two programs that automatically get created if you do nothing based on what the client clicks on. And one of the programs, this is not the webinar to teach you about ESR Suggest and ESR Gateway, but ESR Suggest sends out similar properties to what they're looking at on the website once every 7 days. ESR Gateway is one that you can customize just like an MLS search. If you guys don't do anything, it sets it up automatically, all right? So we'll talk a little bit more about how you should manage those in a little bit. You can also listen to any phone call where the client spoke to you when you use the call button on the website. It records every conversation, so you can go back and look at it later. You can update contact info, and you can also see what the client's favorites and viewed properties and more. On the mobile version, you cannot update the searches on Gateway and Suggest, but you can turn them off and on. But you have to do all your updates of Gateway when you're on the computer site, okay? All right, so what should you all be doing when you take and accept a new lead? So I'm going to walk through this. Some of you are doing these things, and I would suggest that you work on trying to do the things I'm talking about here, because we've seen proven effectiveness of this across the country and in different markets. Plus, the agents that are doing it here are doing very well. So if you get a lead opportunity and you accept it, your phone's going to ring and the client's phone's going to ring. Hopefully they pick up and you have a conversation. If they don't, you're going to answer, after you hang up the phone, you're going to answer the IMS update question, left voicemail, no answer, right? So let's look at that. So what I'm talking about is when you get done with the phone call, there's going to be an update question that comes up. Call today removes the update request. What happened on the call? You're going to click left voicemail or no answer, had not home, bad time. So those are the two things you're going to, or it's a wrong number. Those are the two things that you're going to mark when you don't have the conversation. When you do have you're also going to, the lead's going to be labeled not contacted automatically. A 48-hour follow-up plan starts where the system sends 3 emails and 2 text messages on your behalf. This is another way the system in the background is doing things on your behalf. And then you should also place the lead in the agent hot area. And I'll explain a little bit more about this later, but the agent hot area is going to help you make sure that you've called this person enough times to, to make a valiant effort to reach them. I went through about 100 leads today of people, and of people's not contacted leads, and I found one phone call attempt on almost 90% of them. So this is something that's really going to help you make sure you reach, because people don't always answer on that first or second call. Sometimes they answer on the third call. And if they don't respond to your text or emails, you should make as many calls as possible. And I'll show you a little bit more about this later. Let's look at that 48-hour update, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. The 48-hour situation, down here under follow-up plan, you're going to see that there are emails and text messages that get sent out on the behalf of the client. So these emails and text messages, it sends out a first email, then a text almost 5 or 10 minutes after you initially received the lead, a second email, and then a suggest email goes out with properties, and then finally at the end of the second day, another text messages. So without you doing anything, those 5 things happen in the background, and you're able, hopefully, to make the phone calls at the same time that this stuff is going on without you having to do anything other than try to dial them on the phone. So if the lead does answer the call, there's another set of rules that you should do. Answer the question that you had a conversation, you set a meeting, whatever happened on the call. Then you're going to choose a status, prospect, client, or removed, and add a note. And I'll talk a little bit more about which ones are which as we get going. You're going to schedule a reminder if necessary. If it's somebody that's wanting to meet with you, obviously you should schedule a reminder. If it's somebody that you want to follow up with, it's something you should schedule a reminder. If it's somebody that says they're just looking, you don't have to set a reminder for them. Those are people that the system will tell you when they're ready, and you can always set reminders, but I would say there's some leads that you don't need to set reminders for. Also, you're going to turn off the auto suggest program because you just had a call and figured out what they wanted. No need to guess anymore. You create a gateway, update or create the gateway search for what they're looking for. So this is a key thing. You won't know how many times I get called from agents that tell me, my client got a single-story home sent to them, and they told me they only wanted 2 stories, so I set up Gateway to send them only 2 stories. Well, 10 times out of 10, I go and I look, it's the auto suggest program is still on. The auto suggest program, we don't set any of the criteria. It's just basically sending properties the system thinks they want to look at based on what they clicked on. So it might send a single story when the client asks you for 2 stories, and this is why it's important to turn those things off. And then also the gateway program will be set up after that 48-hour initial period is done. On the 3rd day, the gateway program gets set up and starts sending out emails. So the system is always doing something in the background, even if you never reach the client. Importance of setting reminders. This is another thing that's been big around the country, and we want to make sure that people will see what's going on. Okay, here's a great note set by the client. Self-generated lead, brother wants to move to Claremont, plans to purchase in 2020. And notice that this was set back in June of 2019. Well, when you look at the lead today, it had no reminder set. So this guy was left hanging. Maybe he started working with another agent because the agent never set a reminder. Next one, here's another thing that you probably should set a reminder message for. You had a nice conversation. I told them that I would have someone from mortgage give them a call. Well, how are you going to know how that conversation went if you don't set something to follow up? You know, basically a week later, you should probably follow up with the lender, follow up with the client. Otherwise, these leads are going to fall through the cracks. Remember, you're getting 3 or 4 leads a day if you're taking them. You end up having hundreds and thousands of leads in your database. These things will fall through the cracks if you don't schedule something to remind you to follow up with them. Lead may never show up again on your hot list because every day you guys should be looking at your hot list, but some of these leads may never show up, so you need to set the reminder. How will you remember to call back without a reminder? If follow-up was required, you should also schedule a reminder. All of your active clients, you should schedule a future reminder. I'll talk to you a little bit about what an active client is. And then once a reminder is set, you can forget about this lead unless it shows up on your hot list until it shows up on your reminder list on the date due, okay? So very important to set reminder messages. So what should we do on a daily routine? So let's look at this. When a lot of agents always ask me, well, what should I be doing on a daily, every day with the system and with the leads? Well, the first thing is work any leads on the hot list, which is the red hot list. So when you're in your database, every day that you turn it on, you should go to your home page, and on your home page, you see that you've got a hot list up here at the top of the page. There's 3 people in it. You should work these. This should be the first thing you do every day. You look at it, you go in here and you see a hot list. You can click on the flame to tell you why they're hot. You can go to the notes to see other things, and then you should just make a contact attempt. Call, text, or email. Notice up at the top, it tells you, hot today, make a great impression, all right? Next thing you need to do on your work leads with reminders that are due. So again, right there on your home page, when you're on your home page, you see that you've got these reminders. This agent has 3 past due reminders that they should take care of, and they have one for tonight. So let's click on that. It brings up the lead itself, and it says, call today, ask how her husband is doing, having medical issues. And so you don't want to press the call button to complete that. I'm going to click here, and then up here, call and complete reminder. This is how you take care of your reminder messages and do what you need to do. But remember, this could have been set back on February 6th, because on February 6th, the client said she would contact me when they were ready. Her husband is having medical issues. So at that time on February 6th, she set the reminder message to talk to the client today. So she forgot about this lead until today, because today it showed up on her reminder list. Okay? Next thing that you should be doing on a daily basis, handle all the updates, requested or needs. And what I mean by that is all of your active clients, if the system is going to ask you for an update every 30 days, this is active clients, and I'll talk to you what an active client really is. These are people that are your best people that want to buy or sell in the next 30 days, or at least meet with you in the next 30 days, or 30 to 60 days, I should say. So today, there's no updates requested there. This will start showing up on day 25. Leads will be in here, and it'll ask you for a quick update to the corporate office. It takes like 30 seconds, hardly even, maybe even less than that. There's also a needs update button over here, and this basically has to do with the calls that you make, and after the calls, the system is asking you to update what happened on the call. So if you forget to do that, this will remind you. You click on it, it takes you to the lead, and notice how it says, call today, what happened on this call? And hopefully you remember what happened because you forgot to do it right after you made the call, but hopefully you can go in here and now update this particular lead. So if you do those 3 things, you really are going to be ahead of the game, and you're going to do much better than what you're doing today, because these are the ways that people make the contacts and do the and get a hold of people, and these are the important people on your list. Then when you get done handling all that stuff, then you have time to prospect if you do. First thing you can prospect is your agent hot list. Let's look at that. Agent hot list is ones that you set. when you look at them, notice how up here there's two flames. The left is the system hot, the right is the agent hot. Now, one of the things I tell, when you get a new lead that you didn't reach on the initial call, click this little flame so they show up every day and you can prospect them when you have time. When you click on this lead and you look at, oh, it's a not contacted lead, I'm looking at my contact history, the little telephone here. Oh, I've only made one call. I should prospect this lead. Make a call. Go to the next one. Check how many times I've called them. 4 days ago, and I've called twice. Oh, I could probably call again. I should probably call my not contacted people at least 5 times before I give up on. Once I've called them 5 times, I click on the flame, and they no longer appear on that list. So the next day, it's only the people that are left. So now there's 2 people left that are on that list. Now, you can put other leads in the hot list, your agent hot side that you want to keep track of, but this is a great place to put your not contacted people that you haven't made 5 calls to. See, I've got a question here. Check leads by status to make sure I don't forget anyone that needed to work, just to help new agents. Okay. Jody made a comment that she checks leads by status to make sure I didn't forget anyone that needed work reminder, just to help new agents. Thank you, Jody. She is talking about this leads by status area. It shows you where you've got things scheduled, if you've got anything past due. It shows you all the different statuses and things like that. So that's a good thing to check from time to time. But if you're setting reminders and you are looking at your hot list and your agent hot list, those are ways to do it. Now notice how this database has 352 not contacted leads. Well, typically that is fine. We don't care if you don't reach them. If you've done everything you can, let them sit in your database. The system's going to send them the gateway emails and everything else. But if you haven't made the 5 calls, they should be over here until you make your 5 calls. And then every day you have a list of people that you can call, try to reach until you've done your calls, and you'll see how that works. Okay? All right, so that's the first thing you can do for prospecting. Call leads that are already in your database. Work leads with reminders that are due. We've talked about this already, but look at your reminders and work them. Handle all updates. We talked about that. Oh, excuse me, I'm repeating myself. Take that back. Visitors the last 24 hours and 2 to 7 days. This is another good place to do prospecting if you have time. Notice how in the database, these 3 clients have been on the website in the last 24 hours. If I click on that button, it takes me right to those people, and I see 2 of them, one of them's not contacted, one of them's transferred, one of them's a prospect, but I can go down here and see what they were looking at over here on the recent views, and maybe I'll just give them a call because I have some time to do some prospecting. These people were on the website, obviously they clicked on some property, so they might be worth talking to. Next thing, new company provided leads and the prospecting pool. Again, this isn't a lesson to teach you about the prospecting pool, but those are a few things that you can do. Lead management tips. So we'll go through this slide and we'll call it a day and ask for any questions that you guys have. But one of the big things that I just talked about earlier is turn off auto suggest after making contact. Make sure that you have your gateway set up and you have your auto suggest turned off based on your conversation. Another big thing is flag the ones that we just talked about again. Flag all your new not contacted leads in your agent hot list. This will remind you that you need to make more phone calls to this person because they haven't responded to text, they haven't responded to email, and they haven't responded to my first, second, third, fourth call. Once you make 5 calls, you can click them off of that list and you don't have to worry about them, but you should make those 4 to 5, 6 calls whenever you can. You should also use the proper lead status. Prospect is one of the statuses. The prospects should be people that you've made contact via call, text, or email. They've responded to a text, they've responded to an email, but they're not ready to buy or meet right now. That's a prospect. What is an active client? Well, you've made the contact with them, they're ready to buy or meet you in the next 60 days. These leads are going to require you to update management every 30 days. This is serves a dual purpose. It gives management an idea of what's going on in the marketplace if we see all these updates coming in. Plus, it reminds you, lets you think about that lead a little bit more because you type in a quick message to the management. And then a follow-up reminder should be scheduled. Anybody that's going to buy or meet with you in 60 days, you ought to have a next step scheduled. You should schedule a reminder. Then you're going to have a bunch of leads that are not contacted because you've yet to reach them via phone, email, or text. And then you basically are going to use the remove status for anybody that that's never going to buy or they're wasting your time. So the remove statuses are pretty easy. There's a little trash can. You click on it. It asks you for a reason, and then you can turn off their continue the gateway emails or not. Nope, I'm going to turn them off. They've already purchased, and you remove the lead, and the system will get rid of that lead for you. Okay? So anyway, the big thing, the reason we wanted to have this meeting was to make sure you guys, were looking at things. It was more to help you guys out than to hold accountable, but we do need to hold you guys accountable for these things because now is the time. Competition is high. Leads are being generated by multiple sources. These are free things for you guys. We're spending money trying to get you guys some sales, and I think that it's better for all of us to do some of these things. Hope this helped. Does anybody have any questions before we call it a day? Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. We will, if you have any questions, I'm going to send these slides to you via email. You'll have a copy of the slides that you can look at, and feel free to set up a meeting with me if you have any questions down the road. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good night. Thanks for taking the time. You're welcome, Nick Haley. You're welcome, Justin Uehara.